This podcast contains strong language and discussions about relationships, sex, and love. It may not be suitable for younger listeners. This is the Sex in Singapore City podcast, and I am Nick Selena. Hi, dudes and dodes, it's Nick Selena here for another episode, and I have a feeling you're gonna love this one. It's called Going Balls Deep with BDSM. Pun intended. Yes, I know. I've done an episode before on BDSM. However, I posted a photo of a bed that I'm buying for my new joint when I move out I don't know when I move out, but I'm buying a new bed, and I basically chose a frame for handcuff purposes. And I posted to my stories and was like, is it wrong that I'm choosing a bed specifically with handcuff purposes in mind? Like, you know, some headboards like either don't exist or they're like padded and stuff or they're filled in, you know, it's hard to tie stuff up with these certain headboards. So I just popped it out there. You know me, love a chat. And the responses I got was like, right, I need to do another episode. Basically, everyone assumed I was the dom. And I was like, no, I'm the sub. No. All wrong. Hence why I thought we should do this episode. So if you're sitting there going, dom, sub, what? Then allow me to explain. So the BDSM is an acronym for a variety of sexual practices that involve bondage, B, dominance, D, submission, S, and sadomasochism, M, or masochism. BDSM is a sexual fetish, and it covers a broad range of practices. Generally, the vibe is there's a dominant partner, that's the dom, and then there's a submissive partner, that's your sub. The dom will be the one who's in control, who inflicts pain and pleasure. The submissive will be the one who is there to serve, hence submissive, to receive said pain and pleasure. You can really go hard and fast with this rabbit hole of the dom sub. Like, I don't know, say you'll call your partner daddy, and daddy's like the one in control. You can extend it if you wish beyond the bedroom as well, but I would advise not to. I think it's definitely but you have to have mutual respect, right, in this kind of sexual relationship. So to have mutual respect, you need to keep it just in the bedroom. If it goes beyond the bedroom and one person is just always in control, that's actually like an imbalance of a relationship. But yeah, aside from that note, I fucking love dom and sub relationships. I've only had one actual proper dom sub relationship, and that was Lolly. It was the boss. It's what the book's about. Oh, it's fucking great. Like the sex. Oh my God. He actually helped me discover the whole BDSM community. The bondage, the ties, the toys. Those were the days. I had one long-term relationship where it was just like the guides couldn't do it. Wasn't his vibe really. Which is fine. I loved him. You know, I was with him for years, and it wasn't that sex was shit. It just, for me personally, I really get off on this kind of sex. And then I had one recent partner where we tried for a bit, and I kind of think we got there, but then for whatever reason, he just stopped vibing and just weren't interested in this kind of sexual stuff. It was more like bang and done, really. Just sad. But for me, I am a sub. What does this mean? This means, as a submissive, I like a man who's in control. I like them to be physically in control. I like them to choke me, tie me up. I have whips. I have spank paddles. handcuff me to the bed. I have a bed restraint that runs under the mattress. I love how I'm just so open about this shit. Like, I've just listened back to that. It's like, Nix, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. I like to be blindfolded, gagged, basically my sensory off a little bit. Like, if I don't have a blindfold or gags, I can't speak or hear or something can't see. I like that a lot. I like to be spoken, I guess, down to a little bit in the bedroom. But the thing is, okay, I am a masochist, right? A masochist, if you're going, what's that? Is someone who gets off on receiving sexual pain. I am a masochist. However, the sexual pain for me can't actually be sexual pain. Like, it sounds really hard to describe. There is a pain and pleasure threshold that's really important with BDSM. You don't cross the threshold, right? So the pain, like, I don't want you to, like, fuck me and, like, until I bleed or, you know, I don't want to be screaming in agony. That's not what it's about. I like slightly little bits of pain, and I like, it needs to be outweighed with pleasure. So, and I need to be able to tap out of anything if I'm extremely uncomfortable. But pleasure is always the first thought for this, of the pinnacle of the sexual experience with your partner. But there is, a pain level. Like, some women like to be slapped. Some women like to have nipple clamps or, like, pegs on their, bodies. And some women like to be tied up in hog ties and frog ties and all sorts of manner of shit. Judgment-free zone. One of the things you guys also messaged me about with regards to BDSM that you want me to talk about is the safe word. So when it comes to the pain and pleasure threshold, the safe word is your be one end all. Your safe word is not stop. Your safe word is something that you and your partner have chosen together, like banana, Rolex, handbag, orange. Something very mundane where during your sexual encounter, if you say your safe word, they stop what they're doing immediately, right? Like, it's super immediately. That's it, done. If someone messaged me and said, what if you say the safe word and then they carry on? I'm like, no. That is the biggest red flag ever. That's actually just, that's completely against the whole BDSM community, completely against the practice. Consent is the number one thing with this kind of stuff. You can't force this on someone. You can't force someone to do this kind of thing. It has to be consent both ways. You also have to have a safe word, and you have to apply to the rules of the safe word. It's not like just fun and games. If someone is like choking or in a position that's painful, or I don't know, like there's pain beyond the sexual experience, you need to be able to say that safe word and get out of it. There's also, as I've obviously mentioned earlier, sometimes I like to be gagged. So then there's safe signals as well that you can do with your hands in case you can't speak. So that's like a similar thing, but it must be adhered to. There's no way. I was really shocked when I got that message. I'm like, I don't know who it is, but if they carry on what they're doing, even after the safe word has been said, run. Get the fuck out of that. That is not cool. Another thing I want to talk about when it regards to BDSM is like the stereotypes. People think, like, for instance, that I got stereotypes, you're dom. No, I'm a very strong, independent, opinionated, vocal, assertive woman in my life, in my career, in my circle of friends. That's who I am. When it comes to my man, when it comes to the bedroom, I want that all to go away. I want my man to be a fucking man, Not a boy. I want my man to be a man and treat me with respect, but also take me into the bedroom and, no. And I find a lot of that stereotypes. Actually, you will be surprised how many strong women and men as well want to be the submissive, get off on being the submissive, because it's like, I don't know, maybe it's just like the release of control. I don't know, but that's what I have been for years, and I fucking love it. If you want to know more about the BDSM, like kind of like equipment and toys and stuff I use, so like I've never done any of the super heavy ties. Mine's more just restraint down to the bed. I have some toys that I haven't used ever before, like a butt plug, never used. Judgment free, like I had one, but I've never used it. I like to be like handcuffed down. So either handcuffed to the bed or handcuffed to the bed restraint, or held down. So if there is, you don't have to have toys, right? You can be held down by your partner, just as long as they're overbearing and dominating. I think that's what does it for me. But I also include a lot of vibrators in my sex as well. Cock rings are great. This is all standard stuff, right? So this is like the BDSM shit is the power play stuff. It's like you could even go down a BDSM route with just like some fucking lingerie. You could wear something that looks like a chain or a cage, Even that, if that's all you want to start with, that's great. And I think if you go online, in fact, I know for sure if you go online, there will be like bondage for beginners or bondage starter kits, which will have really like good, easy stuff to start with. Your blindfolds, your handcuffs, maybe a spank paddle, maybe a whip, but a soft whip or like a feather whip. Because when you say the word whip, it's, oh my God. And I get it. And sometimes, like, I've been whipped before and fucking the pain. That got safe worded, man. It wasn't intentional to cause me that much pain, but the whip was very strong. We were drunk. The guy's strong. Yeah, that fucking hurt. Sometimes as well, like if you don't whip in the right place, like you don't want to be whipping on like your ribs or anything. It's just usually the bum. Soft whips like on your legs and arms. Soft though. You don't want to be leaving like fucking marks, right? Like permanent scars or anything. But yeah, I have dabbled in all sorts of this kind of stuff. I could go on about this all day, honestly, and it's a huge rabbit hole of, like, I'd say Google it, but I'm scared of what you'll see, and I don't want to torture you guys. But yeah, it's not. I don't want you guys to think BDSM is like dirty or for the depraved or like something to be ashamed of. And not at all. Not at all. It's, in the very fundamental thing, it's one person is in control and the other person likes to not be in control. And that's it in the bedroom. I choose not to be in control in the bedroom. I like my man to be in control of me. That's it in its rawest form, really. That's the fundamentals. It all goes on from there. I will wrap this up and I will be here for you if you want to speak some more about BDSM, if you want to message me about maybe certain toys, certain pieces of equipment that you're interested in. If you want to know kind of how it starts or how do you get started with it with your partner and all that jazz, I am here. On Instagram, DM me, slide into my DMs at Nixalina, Nixalina. And that is the end of this episode. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you all next week. Thanks for listening to the Sex and Singapore City podcast. This episode was produced and hosted by me, Nixalina, and recorded at the Splicecast studio in Singapore. I'm available to listen to on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, and all major podcast listening apps. Do subscribe to enjoy a new episode every Monday evening. Please do give me a 5-star review. It helps other people also find my podcast. For more awesome content and features to read, you can check out my website, sexandsingaporecity.com. That's sexandsingaporecity.com. I'm also on social media. Simply search at Nixalina, Nixalina, to find me. Don't be shy. Come say hi.